Wow! Welcome back to the show. My name is Jeremy Hone. Wait, sorry. Take two. Hi. Thanks for tuning in, watching the replay, joining me here, coming to you on behalf of the VeeDao with another AMA. And Ask Me Anything with Ezra with a camera from 137pm. This one's going to be fun. I honestly, I don't know what the nerves are going into like any given AMA. I try not to get too in my head about it or judgy, self-judgy. But nonetheless, typically I'm going into the first interaction with the people that we've been interviewing, whether it's Tyler Hobbs or Maha, or, all these other project founders that we've interviewed. And this one feels like I'm just coming to talk to an old friend because Ezra is a VeeFriends OG, minted a black cat. I think he's got a couple of the VeeFriends. We were interacting early on. We've just spent a lot of time together. I met him in person, and I'm so thrilled for him that in the last 6 to 8 weeks, he's taken a job at 137pm, is creating content for them, and I believe is managing their Twitter account. So we're going to catch up with Ezra. We're going to see what's the hip hop with all of that exciting news, and I can't wait. So this is going to be another Twitter Spaces AMA. So the audio will be decoupled very soon. I'll mute my USB mic so you don't get the feedback. I'm going to kick off this Twitter Spaces, roll us into it, and away we will go. Thanks for being here. Good morning and welcome to the show, my friends. My name is Jeremy Hone, and I would like to welcome you to another AMA and Ask Me Anything with the VeeDao, with the VeeDao, with the VeeDao. Ezra is here early. Let's go. I know my songs aren't really getting any better, but I'm bringing the energy nonetheless. Good afternoon, Ezra. How are you?
Better now that I heard that song intro.
Right on.
I listened to the Gary Vee. I was probably like 30 minutes into the yesterday's Gary Vee thing, and I heard you open it up that same way. And I'm just smiling. That's so funny.
Yeah, I always just try to put my best foot forward. It also helps to get past the nerves. Before we do these, I get Twitch going and YouTube, so we're dual streaming there. And I always try to throw out a little intro, and I was saying that unlike other AMAs where I'm usually meeting the guest for the first time, I feel like I'm coming to just catch up with an old friend here. We've actually met in person, and I know a bit of your story, but I'm very excited to catch up with you.
I love that. Yeah, we met in NFT NYC. That was my first time in New York. You live in New York, right?
I do live in New York. Yes.
The wild city, man. I was there for a week. Just last week, I was there for like 8 days. And this country boy from Michigan, definitely after 8 days, I was like, New York City is awesome, but I definitely would like to go back home. This city is amazing, and it's hectic, and it's like everything I thought it would be. It was a lot of fun, but I also like my grass. I like the countryside. So.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I have a lot of fond memories from that week at NFT NYC, but I'm reminded of a moment now where you and I were standing outside of the VeeFriends meetup, and we were talking a bit about the Black Cat DAO, but we were also talking about Ohm. I don't know if you remember this, but it's very funny to be reminded about Ohm on a day like today after Ohm has had its journey down, but also Tether being depegged and that being a big point of conversation. We don't have to get into that. I'm just reminded of it. It's amazing how quickly things could change. I remember specifically having the conversation with you of like, how long can an 800% APR really last?
Right. And here we are, I don't know the percentage now. I'm sure it's like still beating inflation, but also the price of the token has gone down, which I know that my personal performance has not beat inflation. In fact, it's probably down 75% on Ohm. So it is fun, it's the market is wild, it's going to do its own thing. And that's why I don't do DeFi anymore. Literally, Ohm stopped me from doing DeFi because I'm like, this is not my game. So I'm going to go play a different game.
Totally. Most of us are down on equity, but up on community. So let those scales balance.
Let's go. That's a great way to put it. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, let's go. I appreciate you rocking the VeeFriends PFP. I don't know if that's an everyday thing or if you did that for us, but I'm sure there's many in the chat right now drooling over that lucky cat. And maybe that's a good place to start. Like, if you wouldn't mind giving the crowd just a bit of an introduction to you, pre VeeFriends, and maybe the story of how you chose to mint a very, 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 very lucky black cat.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Ezra Fuller. I grew up in Michigan. I've lived in Michigan my entire life. I'm from a town called Weberville, which I'm sure that 0% of people have heard of. It's a very small town. Weberville has one stoplight, so it's very different from New York City. Grew up there. I'm the oldest of five siblings. I live with my brother now, and just grew up in a super small town. I got into crypto in 2017, late 2017, because I worked construction, and I did construction doing like underground cables. Like if there's some big machinery in your backyard next to that like green pedestal where the internet goes, I was the one digging holes in your backyard. So my coworker actually told me about crypto because I was going into computer science. I went to a community college for computer programming. So I was a computer nerd through and through since I was a teenager. And my coworker said, hey, have you heard of Bitcoin? It's like these computer nerds are making money by having computers in their basement. And I was like, okay, I like both of those things.
Yep.
So I looked into it because we had like an hour drive from the shop to where we would work. So the next week, every time I was in the truck, I would be reading Bitcoin and I'd be learning about Bitcoin. And it really intrigued me. Like, I thought it was such a cool concept. I didn't quite grasp the concept. So I was like, I have so many questions about this weird, strange, innovative technology. And I followed Gary Vee's advice because I was at that same time in late 2017, I just discovered Gary Vee. And there was a piece of content he posted about meetup.com. I don't know if anyone here has used meetup.com.
Yeah.
Meetup.com like changed my life. I mean, it literally did. So I found a meetup for Bitcoin. I went there. I met this guy named Jake Herbert. It turns out he was an Olympic wrestler. He like literally wrestled for the USA Olympics. And I had just built a computer for mining crypto. I mined Electronium. Shout out to Electronium and anyone who knows what that is in 2017. Electronium did not work out well. It's similar to our own story, Jeremy.
Really? Okay.
The prices went down quite a bit, but it was good while it lasted. So yeah, that was that's like 2018. Then there was a bear market. I actually entered into a crypto mine operation with Jake, and that went for like 7 months in the midst of the bear market, and we were both like, this isn't really our thing. Like, it's not really working out. Jake had worked at a real estate brokerage at the time, and he was like, hey, like, the real estate brokerage is looking to hire videographers, and I saw you on Snapchat, and it looks like you know a thing or two about cameras. And I was like, oh, like literally, because I use Snapchat, he said that I would be a good videographer. So taking the opportunity, I was like, I agree.
The world of crypto is an incredible.
And then took the interview, got a job at a real estate company as a videographer. And through that, I ended up this whole time I was just buying Bitcoin as much as I could, just a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. And, it was like 2019 now, and Bitcoin had just gone from like 3,000 to 7,000. And I was like, man, I still, yeah, I mean, these are the good old days that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And I was like, I still need more Bitcoin. Like, I just need more Bitcoin. Like, after feeling that bear market for like 7 months, and just like not having, I was like, I need to get more Bitcoin and I need to leverage my time. So I struck up a deal with the owners of the real estate company, and I was like, hey, I want to trade a portion of my salary for Bitcoin. Like, I am willing to take a cut and pay just so that I can buy a chunk of Bitcoin right now because I know it's a good opportunity.
Wow.
So, luckily, the owners of the company were super cool. It was a married couple. It was like a family-like environment. So they took that opportunity as well. And so I had a chunk of $8,000 in Bitcoin that I bought at like 11,000. So I had almost a whole Bitcoin. And during that time, I lived off of $133 every 2 weeks. So
wow.
That's not a lot of money.
No.
It was quite, it was quite the struggle. But I had a little bit of money saved up. I had some side hustles with my camera. My username is Ezra with a camera. I don't take many pictures anymore, but I was deep on the camera grind for sure. So yeah, kind of moving forward, I had a little bit of Bitcoin that I'd stacked up, almost a full Bitcoin, and then I realized like I was starting to run out of money because I was living off of $133 a week. And I was like, I need more money. And I've been doing this digital art stuff. At that time, I was doing a picture every single day for a year. So I had this catalog of digital art that I'd stacked up. So right during the pandemic, this was March of 2020, I had like $200 in my bank account and like a whole Bitcoin stacked up, but I knew I did not want to sell the Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
And I Googled how to make money with digital art. And I just Googled that. And guess what the first thing that popped up was in March of 2020?
Was it NFTs?
It was NFTs.
Wow.
It was absolutely NFTs. So with my knowledge of crypto, I was like, oh, this makes sense. It's like digital assets collectible on Ethereum. Like, this makes sense to me. So I applied to be on Super Rare as an artist. And Super Rare is a platform. It's closed community. They have to accept you into this into the marketplace to be able to make these NFTs.
Mm-hmm.
And they denied my my application. I was like, damn, okay, well, moving on. And I totally forgot about NFTs in March of 2020.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, all right, well, I need money right now, and I don't want to sell Bitcoin. So yeah, and then I still had the crypto. Fast forward, I made it out of the money thing. I think I'd shot like a couple weddings and just got the money that way.
Yeah.
And so then fast forward to Gary Vee talking about NFTs, talking about VeeFriends. I had like a whole Bitcoin. I had like 1.5 Bitcoin, and Bitcoin was like up. It was like really up at that time.
Yeah.
So when VeeFriends launched, I had like, I was like, okay, half of my money in crypto, I'm going to mint VeeFriends because it makes so much sense to me. And I was like deep in the Discord, like learning the characters. I made this spreadsheet of like all the characters and what they sold for on day one so that I could pinpoint what characters I wanted that I thought were undervalued.
Wow.
And yeah, day two, I really put that work in to figure out the mint. And I was listening to the content that Gary was putting out. I knew that the black cat was the logo. And I was like, all right, I'm going to go for the black cat. Day two, it happened. And yeah, I just got super lucky. I think I minted one, missed out on the gas. Or sorry, I tried to mint one and I missed out because of gas. And then the second one I went for, I ended up getting. And yeah, so that's literally my entire crypto journey summed up in 5 minutes and how I got the lucky black cat.
Wow, it's a phenomenal story, and it says nothing of how you've been building since then. I mean, I think we were saying this a lot recently of like, can you believe it's only been a year? But from there to here feels like it's going to take a lot more than 5 minutes. Geez, congratulations, and nice putting in the work. You don't have to share if you don't want to, but maybe what was one other character that you identified as like in demand in those early days that you picked up?
Yeah. So I might be able to, I'll answer that question, and I might be able to stall here for like 1 minute as I pull up the actual spreadsheet.
Nice.
It's in my Notepad++ because I used to be a programmer and we would use Notepad++ because it was a superior notepad. I don't think I'll actually be able to get to that, but yeah, the other characters I did. So I wanted to ball out. I wanted to get the Lucky Black Cat, and I wanted to get the gift goat as well, just because I knew that, you know, the gift thing, I thought that would be a pretty big deal. And so, yeah, I minted a gift goat as well. And I paid extra to get serial number 9. It was, I thought serial numbers would play a larger part in the gift goat series.
Yeah.
And it did in series 2, right? Because all the gift goats got the actual serial number on their artwork.
Right.
So yeah, I paid, I think like 6.4. It was the very last single digit that was available. I just waited until the last single digit serial was available. And then, yeah, I also, you know, I minted, and then from there, I just wanted to get VCon tickets. Like, you know, I got the 2 majors, and I just wanted to get VCon tickets because I wanted to bring my mom, dad, and one of my brothers to VCon.
Wow.
So,
and is that happening? Are they coming?
It's happening. It is.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So I'm super pumped. It's almost like, it almost is crazy to say that we're like, what, 8 days away, 9 days away from VCon? Like,
Yeah.
I think everyone in this room has been waiting for a very long time for VCon, and it's like so close.
Yeah, well, and they just in the hour before we went live, they officially announced the VCon app, which has been circulating for the last 12 hours. Like, we are really close. Like, if you want to go through, you can schedule your whole VCon experience right now. That's how close we are.
Speaking of putting in the work, I need to put that work in because I haven't looked into that at all. So I know what I'm doing after we're done here tonight.
Yeah, and we can go into that a little later. It's a very what's the word I'm looking for? It's a very intuitive app. You know, you have the events, the experiences, and information, and that's it. It's very nicely designed. But I want to talk about you. I'm looking forward to meeting your family at VCon. I hope I'll get that privilege. But
100%.
Yeah, but help me pivot a little bit into your journey to 137. Because I know that was kind of a dream role for you, and I remember when you were posting about it the day it happened. There were like a series of like fortunate events that sort of led up to it, where you got the call and all the rest. So I think you know, in this community, we put a lot of these Gary Vee companies on a pedestal because it's getting closer to the sun, right? And there's also a sense that the culture in these companies are like genuinely supportive and allow creatives like yourself to thrive. So I'd love if you could speak to both of those things, like your journey there, and also does that fantasy of working at a Gary Vee company feel real now that you're actually in the dirt at 137?
Yeah, great tee up. And I want to preface it with, like, you know, I share everything I just did about how I got to minting the Black Cat. Like, I hope that there's something that everyone here can pull from that experience. You know, like, I think when we talk about ourselves, I think there's like opportunities for people to pull, you know, little tidbits of information, or, you know, certain ways that it can relate to your life. So I encourage, like, as you listen, to try and do that for yourself. Otherwise, it's just me talking about myself. So I think there is value to pull out of this. So yeah, I mean, it all started, you know, it was probably about 8 months ago. I decided, you know, with the VeeFriend, I minted a handful of VeeFriends, and I also minted some curio cards, or I bought some curio cards in the summer of 2021, so last summer. And I had built up this NFT bag that I was all in. I mean, literally all in on crypto. I had no other assets, nothing. And so I was fully into NFTs, and I had this bag that had built up where I'm 24 years old now, and I was at the time as well. And I was like, wow, I'm really, really in a great spot to be able to kind of to try something new and to like go out on, take the leap of faith, because I knew that I wanted to do NFTs full time and try and make content around it. And really the main goal was to educate beginners and onboard people into this wonderful world that I had dove in, for 4 years. And I felt I had a lot to share for beginners. So
Yeah.
The real estate stuff wasn't super rewarding. It hadn't become rewarding for me in the day-to-day, but in the 3 years I had learned so much. So it was overall a rewarding experience, but the day-to-day I was like, I feel like there's more to this. So I dove into, I told my bosses, and this was tough because we were like a family, like really, I lived with my manager for a year during COVID, like my best friend. And so I had to tell them like, hey, I think there's more to this and I would like to try other ventures. So, and John Torrey's in the audience right now. John Torrey, we became business partners after I left the real estate company. And because I was doing some content on Twitter, I had made like a YouTube video or two in this educational content. And John actually interviewed me when I went full time. And that story is up on 137 before any of this, me working on 137 was even on the radar at all. So
cool. Yeah,
it's just like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't even know. It's just so cool. Like how paths cross, So, I was full-time into NFTs. I was just trying to make it on my own. John and I partnered up. He has his website, startwithnfts.com. And so I started writing, 1, 2, 3 articles a week. And that was going for a little bit. I think we did that for like 6 months. And we were looking to drive some revenue, and it just wasn't enough for like a full-time position. And so John was freelance writing for 137. And he was like, hey, listen, this isn't enough for a full-time position. I want you to feel good about this and support yourself. I don't think that opportunity is here right now, but I do have this link with 137. I'd like to set up an interview for you and Tyler, when you get a chance. And I was like, wow, that is such a good opportunity. And, I'd be a fool not to take that. So
yeah, say less.
yeah. And so, through that, like connection making and being on Twitter, on crypto Twitter, especially for the last 2 years, like I was able to make that connection and allow that opportunity to even be presented. So it was really, and then, kind of touching on your thought of, there were a series of fortunate events that happened. I talked to Tyler about writing articles on the NFT vertical, and he was like, okay, send me a couple of like examples. So that was Friday. And by Friday night, I had finished like an article or two and I sent it over. And I didn't get a response over the weekend. So, and actually I need to rewind. 2 days before all of this, I had broke my ankle skateboarding, like fresh ankle break. I couldn't even it really was wild. Like I could not grab food from the kitchen. Like I was so just like, I had to rely on like my family to like literally bring a bowl of cereal over to me. It was kind of like, it was really eye-opening. It was like eye-opening to not be able to grab food from the kitchen. And so I was like, okay. So I just broke my ankle. I interviewed with Tyler with a broken ankle. And, now fast forward to the weekend, I'm waiting for Tyler to respond. He hasn't responded yet. And then John and I had a meeting right when the Zero Cool cards had came out, like they were about to come out. And so we were meeting and I was like, I feel like I have a home run idea that will get a lot of traction. If we just tracked every single box break and got that supply, that would be a super valuable resource for the community. It would kind of get our website on the map. And if this 137 opportunity doesn't work out, this spreadsheet could be the start to us driving some revenue and this becoming like a fruitful full-time job. So we decided that we were going to do that. Over the weekend, we started tracking the box breaks. And then by Monday, I still had not heard back from Tyler about the articles that I sent over. So I had this little sneaky back pocket, like this spreadsheet that we were working on. And I decided to tweet that out on Monday and tag Tyler and Gary Vee. So,
and then Gary retweeted. And then, I remember this.
Yes. And so literally, this was my situation when that was happening. I was at my mom's house because she was like, "Oh, let me like nurse you back to health with your broken ankle." And I was like, "Okay, that's cool." And so I was in the house with all my siblings because I mentioned before I'm from a big family. I'm the oldest sibling. So like all my brothers were around, my sister was around, and I'm literally laid up on the couch with my leg. Like you're supposed to keep your leg like above your heart if you've got like a swollen. And so I was literally laying on the couch with my leg up. I look at my phone and there's like nearly like 50 notifications on the Twitter. I'm like, what just happened? Gary Vee had just retweeted it. And I was like, oh my God, this is like a big moment. Literally like 2 minutes after that, Tyler emailed me saying, hey, let's connect tomorrow. And I was like, oh my God, everything's happening.
Wow.
And I literally turned to my mom and I'm like, so this is what fame looks like. And I'm like laying on the couch with my broken ankle. And I thought that was a great moment. And so, yeah, I mean, that was a series of fortunate events. Like, broke my ankle. John helped set up that interview. And then Gary Vee retweeted. And I swear Tyler must have been in the same room when he retweeted it because I literally got that email minutes later. And then in the interview with Tyler, he mentioned, hey, like, I know we originally talked about you writing articles, but James, the guy who used to run the 137 account, he's now going to be working a lot closer with the Gary Vee, like being his personal assistant. Would you be open to running the Twitter? And in my mind, I'm like, I will literally do whatever you guys want. So that works with me. So yeah, that was kind of the, how that happened. And it really is like a series of fortunate events. It really was crazy.
Yeah, it's a great story, and we can say it was a series of fortunate events, but at the same time, you put in the work, like plain and simple. You showed up, you took risks, you got into the space, you wrote the articles, you sent them over, you were there, you took initiative. I want to build you up and send you flowers because it's not dumb luck either. So it's a great story.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think like my response now when people say that, I think it is like it's preparation meets timing. I found an avenue that I wanted to put energy towards, which was onboarding beginners, making these tools. Like I made a couple of spreadsheets. I made a curio card spreadsheet tracking like the zombie wallets, like literally scouring through the work that no one else wanted to do, like scouring through Etherscan, checking the original contract. Every single one of the 30 cards had like 50 people that had bought the original card. So there's like, I don't know, 50 times 30 different entries that I have to look through, tracking that into the spreadsheet, sharing that with the community for free. And like, so I had this history of like, I'm a computer nerd, so I'm cool with data and I like data. So I just poured my energy into making those spreadsheets and sharing my knowledge. And, it really was just preparation meets timing. And I think that's the biggest thing that I can share with everyone in this room is like, just do what you're naturally drawn to, put that out for free, make connections. I mean, this is a wild NFT world that we're in and things can happen. Like you never know what's going to happen. It really can be crazy.
Yeah, amazing. I want to invite anybody who's in the audience, who's interested in asking Ezra a question or commenting on the story or sharing your own to request up. This can certainly turn into a open conversation. So, wow. I guess the next obvious question is like, what's next? Obviously enjoying the moment. Still relatively new at 137. VeeCon right around the corner. I know that maybe actually before we talk about what's next for you, let's talk about what's next for 137 at VeeCon, because I know that there's going to be a lot of active content creation going on there. Are you going to be sort of in the dirt with them through that process? Obviously I understand if there's some things you can't share, but what is the 137 presence going to be at VeeCon?
Yeah, so I just had a meeting about this today, actually, and I can't share a whole lot, but there will be a booth. Actually, we're going to start tweeting this out tomorrow. In secrecy, we're going to like drop hints, so maybe there's some alpha here. We're going to have a booth with a couple of the team members there, and it's basically just going to be like a little meet and greet. if you see one of the people on the team, there might be something for you. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely on the ground people. I'm going to be less in the dirt because I have been looking forward to this event for like a year before I joined 137. So, you know, I'm willing to still put in the work and tweet out, and I will be tweeting out like from 137 at the event. But I definitely like, and this is kind of answering the second part of your original question. It's like, I just communicated like I want to enjoy this mostly as an attendee. I'm definitely willing to like work an hour or two each day and do whatever you guys need. But, you know, I basically just voiced my want of wanting to really enjoy this event as an attendee. And they're like, yeah, we can make that happen. You know, like if you want to tweet anything out, go ahead, free range. So yeah, I'll be so in terms of 137 activations, there's definitely going to be some content creators out there. Opportunities for attendees to talk to 137 and like probably be in some of the content. We were just coming up with some of our content ideas today, so I'm excited for those. And yeah, there's the main thing 137 is doing there is really like talking to the attendees, and you know there might be some content that goes on the jumbotron that 137 is going to capture on the ground and project up there. So yeah, if you see Brandon Shammy, he's going to be the main guy, I think, for that content that's going to appear on the jumbotron. So yeah, I'm super excited. Like I'm like super day to day, and it really hasn't set in that we're so close to VCon. So like just talking about it, I'm getting very excited.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. Yeah, I got a DM from Shammy actually today because he had a tweet earlier about who's going to be at VCon. He did mention, I won't spoil it either, but he did mention there could be potentially, if you find a team member, something to acquire or collect.
A little something for you.
A little something. And also there was some alpha from the VFriend spaces that you hosted a week ago with Gavin Mealer, with a collaboration going on between 137 and Gavin Mealer that I imagine there's still meant to be a surprise, but I have a feeling, you know, from 137 surprises to special surprise guests to activations and scavenger hunts around the convention that there's quite a lot more to VCon that is yet to be known.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of little somethings, I think. I think it's safe to say that.
A lot of little something.
Yeah.
Even a little bit of something I think will be fun for everybody. Again, like coming back to the app, I know you haven't taken a close look yet, but there's a fun map of the different non-stage spaces. And there's, you know, we recently got news that Gala Games has a lounge, Coinbase has a lounge, Captain Morgan and Johnny Walker are sponsoring happy hours. You know, there's a VFriend shop. You know, I'm very interested to see what kind of like exclusive stuff is available at the VFriend shop. I actually asked Gary yesterday, he was here in the VeeDao spaces, and I asked him if the Series 2 toys that we've been seeing are going to be available at VCon, and he said no. And I believe him. I accept him for the honest honeybee that he is, but it wouldn't be the first time he's thrown me off the scent. So I'm sort of in a I'll believe it when I see it mentality for some of these things.
100%. I think there was a lot of throwing off the scent in the early days. If everyone remembers, like being in the Discord and, you know, asking, oh, is anything brewing for this character? Or is this a direction VFriends is heading? Or is this a direction? And he's like, nope. And, you know, some of those things ended up being really close to the truth. Yeah. So
yeah.
Those are the
same way with the cards, the new Series 2 cards,
which I'm super pumped about. I know in that VFriend chat with 137 that you mentioned, like there was a lot of Series 2 talk, or the card talk. And here's some an interesting thing that I can share. It's what, you know, you mentioned the Black Cat DAO, which, you know, this was way back. We're not making anything now. The plan when we first minted our Black Cats, you know, after a month in, we started to realize, at least I started to realize, like, oh, there's other people that were drawn to this character as well. I would like to make the connection with them.
Yeah.
So somehow, I think it's because I set it as the profile picture. Someone reached out that had owned a black cat, and it was, and I'm just remembering this now. The DM was like so suspicious. It was like, hey, do you have, it was so funny. It was literally like out of a movie almost. They were like, hey, do you own the black cat? And I was like, yes. Because there were like, I mean, Aiden Tag had offered to buy the cat like a couple days after mint. And he like slid into the DMs asking to buy the cat. And that was most of the communications that would just randomly come from like owning one of these profile pictures. Like,
Yeah.
you know, one of these characters would be like, hey, I want to buy it for this. And at the time, Aiden wanted to buy it for like 12 ETH, like a week or two after it minted. And
Right, which for context for everybody was like 10 times the floor.
yeah, it was
More
a
or less,
ridiculous
8 to
price.
10 times. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's like, and I think ETH was still like 4,000 at that time. And I was like, this is like a life-changing amount of money. And I'm literally laying, I remember it. I was laying in my bed of a room that I was renting with like 5 other people. Like the cheapest thing I could find off of Facebook Marketplace, because I was still on this like get as much crypto hustle as I could. And I was laying in bed at like 12:30 at night and just reading this DM from Aiden Tag, who was pretty well known in the community at that point. Like already he had made an impact, like as being like the guy to buy the NFTs. And so I remember telling my real life friends about the offer. They were like, dude, you got to take that. That's like a lot of money. And I'm like, well, I still think it could be more. They thought I was crazy, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna be honest. I kind of forget where I was going with this. What was the original question? It was,
You were
I have
mentioning
some
the
alpha.
black
Yeah.
cat DAO.
Yes. Okay, I'll get on with that.
You got like a suspicious DM.
I got this suspicious DM, and it was like, hey, do you own the cat? I was like, yes. And then literally it just said, join us, and then a Discord link. And I was like, what? And so I clicked through, and it's like 4 other people that have the black cat. And I was like, whoa, it literally felt like I was like in this exclusive club of people.
Yep.
And so, you know, we saw that there were like 4 other people, and very quickly I was like, oh, we should get every single black cat that we can. And so I made a spreadsheet. I made another spreadsheet and tracking all the wallets, like trying to find the usernames, et cetera, et cetera. And eventually we got like 17 of the 20-ish black cat owners in one Discord. And we started talking about like, hey, this DAO thing is pretty cool. Like we should start to buy assets together, and we should like try and launch an NFT project. So me and 17, well, only 11 of them decided to join the DAO. So 11 people, we started buying a couple of VeeFriends, just like some floors. We also bought a spec lava goldfish together, which we all still own together. And yeah, we wanted to make a comic book NFT, like, and so I went through all of our Discord history over like 2 months. I looked at every single message and I pinpointed like, what's this person's personality and what's this person's personality? And like, what are the major story points of us all coming together? And so I wrote that into a Google Doc, and then that story became this comic book that we were going to make. And that was like the storyline, the storyboard of the comic. So,
oh, wow.
And if you guys know a community member named How's Life Austin, he's got the epic entrepreneur elf. Yes.
Yeah.
So he has made comic books like for a couple of years. So he was like, he knew how to do all this stuff. So he like storyboarded it out and made this whole, he fleshed the entire comic book out and paid artists to like make this completely done comic book. And then, you know, the whole moral of the story is like, when we all come together, we're more powerful and we can do more good together. Unfortunately, literally the day that Austin was like, hey, we have this comic book done, I realized, oh shit, this is like the Very Lucky Black Cat's story in general. And like, it's way too close to the IP that Gary's building. And this will never get greenlit. Like this will, it was just way too late. And I can't believe I didn't think that way before, because Gary had mentioned he's going to be very protective of the IP. So yeah, we approached Craniac about doing the comic, and basically they were like, yeah, this is way too close. Like this isn't really going to fly. We were like, damn, you know? So that was basically, that's the story of the Black Hat DAO and how it like came together and kind of fizzled out. We still own the NFTs together. But yeah, that was, maybe one day we can just release it as a PDF and not necessarily an NFT, and just like put that out there. That might be fun.
Yeah. I had a similar experience of just like looking at different NFTs, like fan art that was created for me, wanting to mint it, but like, and I respect the explanation that like at this point they have to be very black and white because they haven't established it within their own world, you know. But like interestingly enough, when I spoke to Gary, he mentioned derivatives, and he was like, he said he can't wait for 40 years from now when there are derivatives of VFriends, which I thought it was interesting that he knows that it will happen in time, but I think especially in these early stages is being more black and white to protect the foundation, right? Like the genesis of these backstories and other things. That's really interesting.
Yeah, and I remember where I was going with this.
Great.
So we had all the Discord stuff. We had this group of black cats, and we realized like, oh, this is like a pretty powerful group of people, and we should try and get Gary V into our like exclusive little Discord club with all the black cats. Like we think he would enjoy that. So we all together, Gary had posted the lava goldfish saying like, yo, this is a steal. You know, he used to do that in the Discord, like shout out specific characters. And so we all came together that day and we were like, hey, we should buy this goldfish because that would really get his attention. And let's all put Black Cat DAO in our Discord name. So we executed on that plan. We bought the goldfish together. And then when that bot came in, you know, the Discord sales bot, we all like replied to that saying like the cat needed a pet or like, you know, something along those lines. And so Gary ended up like responding to, he like reacted to my message in the Discord and then sent me a DM saying, hey, and I was like, holy shit, you know, this is like my first interaction with Gary. And I haven't had that many, just for reference, but this is like the very first one. And I was like, yo, you know, Black Cat DAO, we have this thing, like you should come join the Discord. So he joined the Discord and it was like chaos for the next like 10 minutes, like between Gary, me, and like 15 other Black Cat owners. And in that craze, he said something, we said something about the perfect Persian cat. And he was like, don't forget, the cat is the leader of all the cats. And we were like stewing on this for like a month. We were like, what does that mean? Like, we have no clue what that could possibly mean. This was like 9 months ago, just for reference. And so for 9 months, we did not have the answer to what the perfect Persian is the leader of all cats meant. Well, you know, just
the perfect Persian cat is the leader, not the lucky cat.
That's what he said, you know.
Okay.
And so in that, you know, we didn't have the answer for 9 months. Well, then fast forward to literally 3 days ago with the Series 2 collectible cards that came out.
Yep.
That character is the only perfect score. You know, it's the most powerful character out of all of those cards. So,
yeah,
you know, looking back, I just realized today when I saw that the blog post was, oh, he had this plan over 9 months ago. Like he knew exactly what was going to happen. And he already knew that not only am I going to release a Series 2, this box is going to go along with the Series 2. Not only that, the perfect Persian is going to be the best character out of all of those. And that was 9 months ago. So, you know, that was a very long story. I get long-winded, but I get excited.
No, it was great. And on that note, like I think people don't realize how many cats there actually are.
There's a lot.
There's a lot. There's the perfect Persian cat, which we know now because of the card game, which also in like November or December, he had teased, no, actually earlier, I want to say it was like October, that he said, he was like the biggest hint in a long time. It was probably around the same time or shortly after this was happening, where he like, it was such a big hint. He posted it in an announcement and he's like, the perfect Persian cat. And like, as the VFriends community does, like there were a few runs on perfect Persian cats and that didn't play out. Then in the follow-up, he was like, it'll play out in January, and it never did. And I'm pretty sure that the cards is how we're seeing it play out. But there was also a comment that he made to Adam Rips that there was something regarding the perfect cat that he was wrapping up soon that would be announced. So I'm not sure we've seen the end of like this moment for the perfect Persian cat. But like just for context, for people who don't know Series 1 maybe that well, and I forget some of these cats, there's the cynical cat, the perfect, the perceptive puma, the consistent cougar, the charming cheetah, the logical lion, the juicy jaguar, the tremendous tiger, the boss bobcat, and the podcast panther, in addition to the lucky cat and the perfect Persian cat, and and the courtside cat. So, and I'm not just making these up. Oh, and the likable leopard. So I don't know, what does that make? Maybe 10 cats. And I'm not just making this up. This is actually in the metadata. All of these characters have a category called cats. It's like under property, cats. 4%.
I did not know that.
4% of all VeeFriends tokens are cats.
Yeah, that's interesting. For a guy that doesn't like, for a guy that likes humans much more than animals,
Yeah,
that's a lot of cats.
a lot of cats. Well, cats and dogs. Like, there's a lot of like little niche hints in the metadata that get overlooked. That I consider myself pretty well read on VeeFriends, and I've overlooked many things as well. So
yeah, and
that's a fun moment.
on the metadata, when I originally minted, I looked through all the categories. We know that there's like mammals, fish, just art, humans, and then there's dinosaurs. And there's only 2 characters that are in the dinosaur category.
Yeah.
It's the dynamic dino and the truculent T-Rex. And on mint day, I took that as like, these are going to be like more rare, or like kind of like a diamond in the rough kind of thing. So I minted, just the floor, just the core versions of each of those, like based on that metadata. So yeah, there's a lot of plays to be made in the metadata, and I'm sure that there still are, especially that we don't know what the scenes really mean. But they've been hinted to be like very important, almost the most important aspect of the series 2, probably outside of the characters, but that's
it's already manifesting itself in the names of the stages for the side stages at VCon. There are a couple that overlap with series 2 scenes. There's a Gratitude Grove, a Mindful Meadow, and the Dirt, which are all series 2 scenes that are also names of stages at VCon.
That's so cool. I did not know that. That is really cool.
Yeah.
It almost reminds me of like Danny Cole's Creature World, where he'll do activations at these kind of events and literally like build out the creature world. Like he'll build out like paper mache hills and like the rainbow and stuff.
Yeah.
So
I've been wondering if they're gonna give him space to do more of an like immersive activation rather than speaking on a panel. I haven't seen any mention of it yet, but they know he's capable of doing that, and they definitely have the space for it. Could be interesting.
Yeah, I'm sure that if he wanted to, I'm sure they would give that space. Like, just make it.
And also they have 3 years. Like, just because something doesn't happen this year doesn't mean it's not in the works for one of the following 2 years, or perhaps VCon 2025, which is still on the table, just not promised.
Yeah, so true. I mean, hashtag we're early. No.
Hashtag we're early. That's a good moment to welcome up Cohen. How are you, my last glass standing friend? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, what's up, Ez? So, by the way, on a completely different pivotal note, I have number 1. We got 1 spider.
Great, nice, good news.
And I have around 70 VCon access tokens in my app.
Wow. Okay, that's great. That's great.
Not really.
No, it's good. It's good.
No, because I have to actually click on each one and register a person's name per ticket.
Yes, but I wouldn't worry about doing it yet, because we want to make sure we're coordinated. Like, you and I need to have a sit down and make sure all that's in line. Because I've got another 20 in my wallet.
No. That's your wallet. You're dealing with your wallet. I'm not walking in with 100. 70 is already maxed out.
Well, but we can split them. You can send some to me. You don't.
Yeah, but there's no point sending gas unnecessarily.
I mean, we can talk about this later.
Okay. By the way, so I messaged Dustin. Dustin's gonna come and video it.
Oh, good. Yeah,
and I messaged D-Rock, and D-Rock had the best response, by the way. So I told D-Rock, I'm like, he goes, "I go where Gary goes."
That is a great. Well, you should tell him to bring Gary.
Right, I know.
Like,
it was just so funny when he says,
he's
like, "I go wherever Gary goes." I'm like, fair.
Yeah. Well, That's really fun. You know, that makes me think we should have like a VeeDao banner. I don't know if it's too late to have like a flag, like a literal flag, but
And you don't remember what I said? I thought we were going to use your Heart Trooper staff.
I am gonna make a Heart Trooper staff. As soon
I
as
know.
I get
So
there,
doesn't that
I'll
make
have
sense
it.
then?
Yeah, but it's not gonna be like. It's gonna be like 7 feet. It's not gonna be like 12 feet.
And then put the phone, you know, where you have to put the tickets. Put the phone on the staff, and then you
Oh, yeah.
enter that way.
God! Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
god! That's actually a great idea. You know what? I actually have a GoPro chest mount, and I wonder if I could get a phone adapter for it. And because I could make something a little more involved, and depending on, and I might. But my simple thought is just to go to like a Target and get a broom with a red handle, and then go to a Party City or a balloon store and get one of those long-lasting, large, not nylon, mylar heart-shaped balloons, and just tie it to the top of the broom, like cut off the broom part and then tie it to the top of the broomstick.
I think that just sparked something in my brain. It's like, if you want to be on the very first VCon, this historic moment, if you want to be on like their official recap video, a guaranteed way to do that is to cosplay as one of your characters. Like,
I'm
definitely end up on it.
I'm gonna cosplay as the Heart Trooper and as the competitive clown, and maybe some other character if I can manage it.
I never thought about cosplaying, you know, at this event. Like, I bet there's going to be people that do it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it'll be even bigger next year as well. As people see, get more ideas and see and have a better understanding of like what VCon is like. VCon is gonna be so wild. I'm so excited. It's literally, it's about a week away. Like the anniversary of the auction is tomorrow. Sorry, I'm just excited.
Yeah, I have that. I know John's upstage on the stage right now, and one of the pinned tweets is that article. And in that picture, in the pinned tweet, the picture is me buying a Lucky Black Cat with my left hand and a Patient Panda with my right hand. The panda is for my boss, but I cannot wait to tweet that. And like, you know, that's just a cool moment. I mean, speaking of moments in history, like, you know, cosplaying a VCon and buying those two, like, we'll probably see a lot of throwbacks. I can't believe it's kind of you already.
And since you bought on day 2, you'll actually be able to do a little throwback Thursday on a Thursday.
It was meant to be.
It was meant to be. Hey, John, thanks for coming up.
Yeah, hey guys. It's so crazy, Ezra, because a couple months ago until now, I mean, so much has transpired. I don't think you shared this part of it. If you did, I apologize. But could you talk about, you know, I know I told you not to rip the VFriend Zero Cool, but you ripped the VFriend Zero Cool. You got something kind of interesting out of it. And then you got to meet Gary Vee. I remember you saying to me that you were like, oh man, I feel like I'm getting close to Gary Vee. Then you got to meet him. Could you just share that story? What I'm really curious about is when you went to the offices, like how did that transpire? Did you tell somebody, hey, I want to meet Gary? Did he want, you know, could you just talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. That was so funny. We did talk about not ripping them, and knowing my personality, I'm like, well, this taught me my personality. It was sealed for like a week or so, and I was like, I just got to see what's inside this box. Like, I cannot wait any longer. And so regardless of the upside of the economics, I decided to rip the box, and my whole family was around me because my ankle was still broken. I was still at my mom's house. And I ended up pulling the Mindful Metakawa hand-drawn.
Wow.
And it was like the craziest thing. I was like, oh my God, this is like insane. Like, this is one of the cards that you want to get. And so I just held on to it for a little bit, and I was like, I didn't know exactly what to do with it. Then I realized I was going to go. Then I got hired into 137, or I think I was just in the process of that. And I decided that I wanted to visit the office just to be in the culture and meet, you know, my teammates before VCon. And so I brought the Metakawa card with me. And honestly, like, it was twofold. One was I already knew that I wanted to sell it because I really could use that liquidity, that US dollars, because I'm just so leveraged into crypto. It's like not even advisable how leveraged I am in crypto. So I was like, I need the US dollars, as much as I hate to say it. So I knew that I was going to sell it, and I needed when I wanted to sell it, I knew that I had to ship it while I was in New York because I had Probstein, the eBay seller, consign it. And so I wanted to sell it. And then I also knew that that would be my ticket to meet Gary, just like John said. So it was like it was day one in the office. And I was just hanging with a couple of the content creators on 137. I was showing them this card, and like a couple of them knew what it meant, a couple didn't. And I was like, yeah, I think this is going to be my ticket to meet Gary. And he was in the office. Like I could see him, how the office is set up.
Yeah.
You guys have seen Daily V's and stuff. And so I was like, this is my ticket to meet Gary. And then it was Emily who records like props and drops. She records a couple of the other podcasts that happen in the office. And she was like, oh, do you want me to go ask D-Rock if you can meet him right now? And I'm like, what?
Yes.
My answer was like, the answer in my brain was like, no, like we don't have to do that. But then I said yes, and that was a good decision. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So then I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. We walk up to D-Rock and they're about to film something. I don't know what they were about to film, but literally as we were walking up to D-Rock, he didn't see us. He turned around to go into the office. So then Emily kind of just led me into the office, and I'm like standing right outside the glass door, and I make eye contact with Gary, and I like throw up the peace sign, and then he winks at me, and I was like, okay, that's cool. And and then we go into the office, and the Patient Pig song is playing before it's revealed, like 5 to 10 minutes before it got posted. It was like Maha. I keep calling him Craniac. I don't think that's his actual.
No, Craniac.
Craniac. Is Craniac and D-Rock and like Dustin, like everyone's in there listening to the Patient Pig song, and I've got this card in my hand. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. This is just a cool moment. And then Maha asked, they had just reshuffled the office to have the series 2 characters in the background.
On
like
the wall,
they just did that like 2 hours before. So then Maha asked, like, hey, what are those? He starts talking about series 2. And then I was like, hey, if you're looking for the Mindful Metakawa, here it is. And then the video was recorded by D-Rock. And it was just crazy. It was really, really surreal. I was definitely shaking. It was just so cool. And then he made fun of my sweatshirt. Not really made fun, but because I was wearing an NFTs are a scam sweatshirt, which is, it's an ironic piece of clothing from the hundreds, which did Atom Bomb Squad.
Right.
So yeah, that was, that's a full story of how it happened. It kind of was just like, again, just right place, right time, preparation meets timing, like being able to ask and, just having this intuition that the card would be, how I would end up meeting him. So.
So that's a good segue. There's 2 more things I want to touch on before we run out of time. Number 1, speaking of zero cool cards, there are 10,000, but it seems actually now that there are more than 10,000, because when you run the math, it ends up being like 10,200 roughly zero cool cards, and I think that explains why some of the boxes have 11 cards for those extra cores here and there. But compared to the Series 1 set, the one that went to the Blind Dutch auction, some 10,000 cards, there are 2.88 million compete and collect cards. On the record, are you going to be tracking those box breaks?
I've already got a full-time job.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll tackle that one.
Yeah.
I gotta catch up on the Series 1s, but we'll be looking out for some when those autographs hit eBay.
Yeah, it could be fun to check like some of the ultra rares, right? Like some of the signatures and stuff. But yeah, it's going to be a massive, massive set. Any hot takes? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I think it's in line with what you're about to ask. Like, I'm very curious, and John, maybe you have the answer because you are like really in the card world. I'm interested in comparing the Series 2 supply in these characters, and once they sell, tracking them. Not with a spreadsheet, but just like seeing eBay sales. I'm interested to see, how could they compare if VeeFriends becomes 50% of what Pokemon is? And that's very lofty because Pokemon is literally the #1 IP in the world over Marvel, over, anything Disney does. Like, they're the single largest IP. So if VFriends does 50% of that or 25% of that, what are these Series 2 cards going to sell for compared to what the very first edition of Pokemon cards have sold for? I think if people have the stomach for holding on to these cards for 20 years and maybe slabbing them and keeping them really nice and pristine and they become 9s and 10s at PSA, like how will those prices compare? And I don't have the supply numbers, so I wonder if, John, if like, I've heard that Series 2 is less. I've heard both sides. I've heard that 2.8 million is less, and I've heard that 2.8 million is more than the first edition of Pokemon.
It's less.
Yeah, I heard that it's less as well.
Yeah, Pokemon issued way more cards than VFriends issued.
Interesting. That's good to know.
Yeah,
VFriends, you were the one that freaking told me that on that AMA that we did.
Yep.
Small world.
I also remember we found the glitch together too.
That's true. Yeah, you were the one that freaking unveiled that. That's crazy.
Do you know that I'm holding the glitch that nobody knows about yet? I manifested the glitch.
Is this cap? Are you capping?
It's not a fact. I basically went all in. I traded a lot of my book games for the gold frames, and I went in for 55 tokens for 11 drawings, and I hit 3. And as of this moment, there's 92 wolves that have been minted, and none of them are glitches.
So you're saying that you have one of the burn characters, the new characters. There's a glitch that people have not heard of in these new characters, and you have one of them.
It's not a herd. It's a fact that there is a wolf glitch, and hasn't been minted yet. And I've been manifesting it, and the community has been manifesting it for me. And Jeremy's been half fudding, half manifesting it.
Excuse you. You're excused. So here's a fun fact.
He gives me the statistics. He's like, you have a 1.2% chance of getting it, but
you have way less than a 1.2% chance.
See?
But like I told you, the statistics don't matter because you have a 100% chance because it's already been assigned to you. This is the way that works.
You see what he does, Ezra? There, so he gives you a 1.2% chance, and then he tells you it's there.
All right, coming back to it, I don't know how accurate these numbers are, but here's an article which from PSA actually, which says that the exact number of first edition Pokemon cards for the base set is unknown, but it's estimated to be less than 10,000, and there are 102 cards total. 16 of them being the rarest holographic cards. So 100 times 10,000 would be 1 million, which would be nearly 1/3 the supply of Series 2. So I can't verify that that's true, but that's what a quick Google search tells me.
Here's I do have to run after this, but I'll give you guys one and gals one kind of just thought on the Series 2 cards because it is a lot more supply.
Yeah.
In the card world, when more people get to rip, like the most popular products are the ones that people get to rip. Because and when I say rip, I mean open them. So if you have a bunch of, if these boxes start floating, they're a cheaper price point, you have a larger audience that's opening the cards, they get familiar with the set, they figure out what their chase cards are, it usually helps with the demand. And I think this is like what I think. I've got a box of Zero Cool, like I'm gonna hold it. It's probably gonna be like 20 years. It usually cycles where it's like, there's a lot of people in here right now probably that follow Gary Vee, doing entrepreneur stuff. Like, look at Ezra, like he's at 137pm. In 10, 20 years, when Ezra, you're a VP there or whatever you're doing, you recall like when you were ripping these boxes and you're trying to pull a card and, then you go to eBay and you have a little more cash on hand. But yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting. I think the Series 2 is gonna be like, has more demand initially. And then in that 20-year period, people will be like, oh yeah, that's right. There was that Series 1 thing. And, that they're going to go back to that, and those will obviously be more, but it'll be an interesting dynamic because it'll be more boxes and more hands, and I think that'll create more nostalgia 15 and 20 years from now. So I think it was real smart by Gary Vee.
Well, and also considering they're meant to be played with, it's an actual card game, that will mean that more of them lose quality, and the amount of like collectible cards will also decrease.
Yep. And don't forget about the Uno card. You got the Uno, you got this, and I think a lot of people are like, man, that's too many. But what it does is it creates that nostalgia, because if you're playing, maybe with your kid, right? And then as your child gets older and they start to make some income, they're like, oh yeah, I have that memory with my parent playing VeeFriends Uno. Like, I want to go buy a box. And there's just not many that's what happens in collectibles. And so that's why I think anybody on here, like, if you got some of those and you can stomach to hold Uno, the Series 2, or Zero Cool, whatever, like, for the next 20 years, like, I think you'll see some really interesting things happen. But I got to run, guys. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks for popping up.
Yeah, thank you. Super insightful.
Ezra, I know that we're running up on time as well. The other thing I wanted to just touch base on, I know you're in Michigan, but 137 is about to open up a brick and mortar here in New York City. I'm sure you're aware of that. Do you have anything to share in that regard?
Yeah, 100%. So when I visited, it was still under construction, so it wasn't really, we weren't really inviting people in, but now we are inviting people in to the office. Like, there's it's at West Village. I haven't seen anyone share the actual address, so I'm not going to do that now, but there are events that are happening, and 137 is really looking to increase the amount of like in-person meetup,
Yeah.
Like, over the last 2 years of COVID, we really haven't had that, 2.5 years now, almost. And so yeah, 137, we're looking to do more events. We have a pickleball event May 26th, I believe. So it's going to be after VCon. And yeah, we're lining that up now. So brick and mortar, it's happening. People are, Sean Malay is running a podcast out of there, like in the booth. It's really funny to see. And they're already pumping out content around that. So brick and mortar, it's a coffee shop. I've heard the coffee is really, really good. And yeah, I mean, we're going to start to encourage more and more people to come through, swing by, just hang out, meet the team, and kind of be like immersed in the culture.
And it opens up tomorrow, correct?
That is news to me, honestly. I probably should know that. I'm going to be honest with you. But this is why you're so into the community and you have the community that you do. And there's a reason that you may or may not be potentially brewing something up with VeeFriends. So, you got the alpha quicker than I did, but maybe that's just because I'm based in Michigan. So yeah. If it is, I can confirm that over Slack here in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I don't know if I saw them tweet it or on Instagram. It was Instagram actually, and also Gary shared it in the Discord. I want to verify because I want to go. I want to check it out. Here it is. Tomorrow, our new space opens. Come grab a coffee. White Horse Tavern.
I love it.
So yeah, officially announced on TikTok, as far as I can tell. I'm sure there's more and more content to come. I'm definitely going to be making a visit, and I'm sure I'll see you there at some point.
100%. I'm trying to spend more time out there, like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks out of the summer, like at these little stints. So yeah, I would love to meet up.
Well, in closing, I want to just give you the space, beyond 137. Is there something directly that we can do to support you? I'm sure most people in the space have followed you by now. You have such a great story and you're so open with your expertise and experience. But we also know that you're running the 137pm account. So like maybe the ask is like, should we be turning on post notifications for 137? Tell us what to do, Ezra.
Yeah, I think post notifications is great. I don't have any, I don't have an NFT collection. I don't have like a, YouTube channel or anything. So I do, my one ask is, I guess there's two. One is follow me on Twitter as I discover what I'm trying to do with this newfound success and platform. I think on my horizon, there's just a lot of exploring. Like there's a lot of trying to figure out what I'm looking to do. And now that I've, kind of like conquered this hill, this dream of working at 137 and working at a Gary Vee company, like I've had that in my mind for over 4 years and now I'm here. So I'm, I was working towards that. So now I'm kind of trying to figure out the next hill and I'm not quite sure what that's going to be. So if any of this information or like anything resonated with you, which I hope it did, I would ask to follow and post notifications on 137 because I spend a lot of my time on 137 and I will definitely see you in the comments over there.
Yeah, I mean, Ezra's like 68 follows away from 2,000. Can we try to get this room to get him to 2,000?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, and like maybe we can share Ezra. Can we retweet Ezra's pin tweet? It currently has 16 retweets. Can we get to 30? Can we get 14 people in the room to retweet Ezra's pin tweet?
I don't see a pin tweet.
Look harder. It's at the top.
There's only 2 pinned tweets, and you're the one that pinned both of them.
No. In on Ezra's profile. On Ezra's
Oh,
profile.
sorry.
Here, I'll pin it. I just
Got
pinned
it,
up
yes.
in space. No,
So what do we need?
that was a good call out.
Sorry, pinned tweet.
Yeah,
So what are we doing? We're retweeting,
Yeah,
pinned. There we go.
give him a little love.
I appreciate it, y'all. And I think that's a good comment too. And one, just like to close in on, like, the tweet says your quote unquote common knowledge in NFTs is more valuable than your NFT bag. And I initially tweeted that out because, you can have, whatever number you want. You can have $100,000, $1 million, 10 million of your NFT bag, but none of that money is worth anything if you don't have people and connections to share what that money can give you. So, that's why I say that the common knowledge is more important, because you should be sharing that. And especially as the space grows over the next 10 years, like your common knowledge of setting up a MetaMask, not sharing your 12-word seed phrase, using Immutable X, like this is very valuable knowledge that can be marketed to open up new doors and new opportunities and, jobs for you in the future as more companies get into Web3. So I think that's really important to share. And I appreciate everyone for following. I'm seeing a bunch of people retweeting and following, and it's humbling, honestly. And I appreciate it.
So cool. Well, Ezra, I want to just thank you again. It was so great to hear your story, and yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you at VCon.
Yeah. Go. Me, you, and everyone in the room. I'm so excited to meet people and just share that experience. It's gonna be so fun. I mean, we've been waiting for a long time for this, and it's just on the horizon. So I appreciate you for inviting me and having me on, and VeeFriends.e, thanks for setting this up, and Jeremy, thank you for always sharing your knowledge and just sharing everything you have. Staring at the screen and learning through Discord and all this stuff, and making it all into one place that is nice, shareable, presentable. It's really valuable to the community, and that's why there's 60 some people in this room right now.
Yeah,
so
well, fam takes care of fam. Are you coming Thursday night?
I think I'm driving with my family from Michigan to Minnesota. I believe we're gonna be there Thursday night. Yeah.
So 10 p.m. we are having an event. I'll send you the info. If we're gonna have at least 100 plus of the community there. Wow. I think everybody would love to see you, and I think it would be a great small setting for you to be able to meet everybody in the masses, but in a smaller setting.
I love it. I will be there. I might bring my family too if they're not too tired after the drive.
No problem. 100%. I'll DM you the info.
Awesome.
Nice. We just, by the way, we blew 30 retweets out of the water. We're at 42. I love to see it. Appreciate everybody's participation.
Wow. And thank you for listening to the story. I'm just super humbled. It's amazing. Seeing all the Series 2 profile pictures, it's amazing. I just thank you guys for setting this up and everyone for listening, and hopefully you found something valuable out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we didn't even get to talk about your new rug hobby.
Yeah, we can
talk about what's this rug hobby?
AMA. No.
Wait, I want a last glass standing rug.
We could probably make that happen.
There you go.
Meet you in the DMs. There we go. We got a lot to talk about in the DMs.
Yes, I affectionately refer to Cohen now as a last glass standing maxi. He might be the only one on planet Earth.
By the way, it's a fact. And by the way, Gary didn't want to admit it, but I called him. He's like, "Yeah, they randomize it." BS. The evolving pose card is a last glass standing diamond. For all the last glass standings. Come on, we know how it went down.
Yeah, I think we'll just leave that to leave that for the market to decide.
Just like the bowler hat from the clown came from Jeremy. I believe that also.
Oh,
I don't think so. I asked him.
We know. I know.
He said no. Anyway, Thank you so much, Ezra. And thank you, as always, to everyone. I mean, Natty, Ginger, Nikki, Teacher, been here for the entire time. Like Dav, Jeff, Kind Kong. I love seeing so much of this community stick around. Quiet, light bulbs in the house, Sade, so many of you. We really appreciate your participation and hope you enjoyed this AMA. The next AMA is going to be Friday, unless we get some time with Maha. Let me just quickly.
Actually, no, you missed one. We have one on Thursday with hold on, I'll tell you right now.
With
Gavin Mueller, and
Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, by the way, I didn't know this, but apparently Vayner NFT calls Maha their Vayner Swiss Army knife. Is that true, Ezra?
Wow.
I'm not in that section, but I believe it. I mean, we see her like everywhere.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be trying to get closer to the Maha son more than the Gary Vee son.
By the way, facts.
Facts. She's such a, like, I literally, for months, I've been referring to her as a force of nature. You know?
She is, and she's the nicest person.
And like, I need to give some due credit where credit is due to Maha Gaber, not only for being in the community, not only for doing these AMAs with Vaginas, with VeeDao, with other community groups, not only for all the things we don't see, but for me personally, she followed me on Instagram when I had like 10 followers, 20 followers. And she sent me a DM and she was like, I should find it. She said, I love the content, very smart. And like, that was just enough fuel for me to be like, oh, fuck, is this person really PR for Gary Vee? I'm onto something. And I remember that was like a really welcome push at that time. So kudos to her.
Here.
Like, she found me because I was tweeting with the hashtag VFriends. Like, it's a good example of how like she's not judging people based on their following or based on anything. She's like literally reacting to things as they're happening. It's like, it's so refreshing. And
Jeremy, I just posted a tweet. Maybe we should like and retweet.
Okay, let me check it out. Just wanted to take a moment to thank Maha Gaber. Absolutely. I'll retweet this.
And that just shows that she's putting in the work, you know, even at the level that she's at, she's on Instagram searching hashtag VFriends and engaging with those people. Like that's just so cool. And Jeremy, you were actually one of the first VFriend. You were the very first VFriend account to follow me on Instagram. And I remember seeing "Want to Be a VFriend." I was like, oh, that's interesting. There's like really a community forming around this. And that was probably like a week in, if, you know, maybe less. So just so cool, you know, and here we are a year in, just wild. Now we're going to meet in person. It's just crazy. It's still setting in that it's only a week away.
Yeah. If everybody has a free second, if they could just click on the pinned tweet on top and just like it and retweet it. So Maha can all of a sudden just get like all these messages in her box right now with the thanks and praise to show how much the community appreciates everything that she's been doing.
Yeah, that's a really nice note to end on. All right. Thank you so much again. And, you know, sometimes, sorry, I know this is a tangent. I know I just made as if I was going to wrap up, but like sometimes the repeated thanks and gratitude can like maybe fall on deaf ears. You know, like I come from a theater training where it's like you say thank you after every direction you receive. Like it's just in my bones to say thank you to everyone, no matter who they are, for everything, criticism, praise, all the rest. But like, I actually mean it. And I just want to reiterate that, as I have repeated thank you a few times here at the end, like time is limited. None of the 50 people in the room, nor Ezra, nor Cohen, needed to take this time today. And it's cool that you did. It's really cool. So my sincere thanks, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I will see you tomorrow, and otherwise we'll have a VeeDao AMA Thursday at 5. So thanks for being here. Signing off from the VeeDao. Bravo to us. Hashtag see you at VCon. Maha's a legend. On and on and on. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, Jeremy, can I just say one last thing?
Yeah, of course.
I actually want to take a moment actually to thank you for everything
No.
that you do to the community, and I think that you take
Thank you.
majority of your day, if not all your day, to only give everybody in this community value, and you're extremely selfless, especially for the past year. You've done it literally being unpaid to just give the community value, and all you get is just a bunch of likes and retweets, which is great, and you get a bunch of followers, but people don't understand how much time and energy and effort and tracking and reading and researching and connecting and socializing to get all this information, and not only that, to be able to digest it, to re-give it to the community so they can understand it on an understandable level. It's a skill, and I just want to thank you personally because I've gotten value from you, and thank you.
You're welcome. I feel so loved. Sending you all my love. I'm going to wrap up the space. We'll see you tomorrow. There was also while we were recording, there was an AMA in the VFriends Discord with like Q&A about the VCon app. I imagine it's recorded as they want that information out there, but I'll also be recording a podcast with that information tonight or tomorrow morning. So fear not. There's plenty of time, and the app is pretty simple to understand. The one key takeaway that I think is important to hear is that your wallet connection, and you'll have to assign a government name, your government issued name that you have a matching government issued ID for per ticket. Once you enter VCon, that cannot be changed. So with my one ticket, if I assign my name to it and I enter on Friday, I can't change the name and allow someone else to enter on Saturday. That's kind of like the biggest restriction in the app. Otherwise, it's very intuitive, and I will do my best to step you through it later on. So, yeah, good stuff. Away we go. And I think we're out.
That was fun.
Thanks again.
Great show.
Appreciate you,
Thanks
Jeremy.
for watching the
See you
replay
soon. Peace out.
here
Appreciate
on
it.
the Jeremy Knows YouTube channel.
Adios.
You know, we're launching an NFT tomorrow. I don't know there's one person watching this live on Twitch. You have my gratitude. We're launching an NFT tomorrow, and beyond the fact that like that's very exciting, and there's going to be a lot of new energy driven toward the community and me through that process. I'm actually just looking at like the picture here. You know, I've got this like simple overlay I made, which is kind of goofy but really fun, and I like it. And I'm looking at like the camera quality with this webcam, and I'm just thinking like, man, with a little bit of money in call it 3 weeks, what is this going to look like? Because while like the utilities of the NFT will roll out at the end of June, like depending on how much we mint, I mean, but it shouldn't take more than a couple $1,000s to like really see a quality upgrade here, and that's really exciting. So yeah, that whole space has me very hopeful and optimistic for what's going forward. I will be shilling my NFT for the next few weeks, so I thank you in advance. I was, you know, my human societal training was about to like apologize in advance, but instead I will thank you for your compassion and your support as I share this present with you, this token of gratitude. So my love and my thanks. Hope you have a wonderful night. This has been a AMA hosted through the VeeDao with Ezra the camera from 137pm on the Jeremy Knows YouTube channel. I'm your host, Jeremy the Heart Trooper #7.